feeling is about the show that continues to resonate with viewers? Because I've just seen the popularity just continue to grow as like more and more buzz begins to kind of feel about it.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that. That's very good to hear. Well, I think one of the things for me that I love about it, that I love as a fan, like as a Simpsons fan, for example, is that Dana is such a funny writer, and the writers that he brought on are so fast that stuff happens so quickly that you might miss something funny if you're not, like, for me, I probably watched these things like 2 or 3 times as a fan, the same way I do with The Simpsons, because I don't want to miss any of the jokes. And Dana is so amazing, again, like that you would see on The Simpsons, about planning little Easter eggs and making homages to other shows and movies. And even like the newspapers and the magazines, like if there's ever something that's printed to be seen, if it's a poster, whatever it is, there's jokes in it. And so I feel like I would be that nerd who's like, pause it, can we zoom in? No, is that not a thing we can do? I'm not an FBI agent with okay, all right, I'm sure it's funny, whatever it says. So yeah, anyway, so I think that's part of it, is that this just works on a lot of different layers. And so there's just like, it's really smart. For as goofy as it is, it's a really smart show. So hopefully that's part of it. And I know that, Johnny and I both, we love our characters and we love the relationship between our characters. And there's something very grounded and real there. And we only get to explore that more in the second season. So I'm excited for everybody to see it. Yeah.
I heard you had said that you got to be in a couple more outfits this season. So
I did. People clothes!
So what are you most looking forward to when it comes to delving into Evie's personal life?
Well, I can't say that suddenly her dating life gets any better. That is patently untrue. But I think, what I would say it is her relationship to Denise, to Deborah Baker Jr.'s character. Yeah, there's some more stuff that they get into. There's more kind of girl stuff that happens with the two of them that was so much fun and a blast. And it is kind of fun to see Evie literally let her hair down. So there's some really good, juicy stuff in there. Yeah.
How do you tiptoe the line between, the horror and the comedy aspect? So they're two very different, on the spectrum.
Yeah. You know what? I think, I think John would say and Dana would say my character really just reacts in the situation, and I don't know that she knows she's funny. I'm excited that I think she is funny. I mean, I don't think she's just like a straight person the same way. This is such an old reference, but someone like Dave Foley on News Radio. I love The Kids in the Hall, so I loved News Radio. And he's still so funny, even though he's just like, a lot of the time it's someone else saying something crazy and then you just see the expression on his face, and that's what's funny. And so I don't feel like I have to be crazy to get to do comedy. And I don't always feel that way. Sometimes I do shows where, my character is very over the top. I'm the kind of character. So this was a really fun departure from that. And she's terrified when she's terrified, and when she's rolling her eyes, it's, but those moments of comic relief, I think, for me as a viewer, I need that stuff, because I do get really uncomfortable when something is just like relentlessly terrifying. I need to have those breather moments, Do you guys have that too, or do you love just like straight through? Yeah.
Breather.
Yeah, breather moments. Not as many, like for me, like the first couple of Aliens movies are, well, I guess just the middle one. I guess the second one works the most for me, because there's more kind of like moments of space and funnier characters kind of. And those are the scariest movies to me, because as they've progressed, like they've just become more and more freaky and more like, there's just nothing funny here at all. Humankind is doomed. What's the meaning of any of this?
Is that how you felt with Covenant? Did you get a chance to see it?
Yeah. I mean, it was great. I was pleased, because I did have problems with Prometheus. I really kind of struggled with that movie, but there's it's so like nihilistic now. It's just so like, do you know what I mean? Like existentialist, where you're just like, I don't know, why Waven?
Why do anything?
Maybe I should just die while I'm watching this. Like there's just this emptiness to it, and it's really provocative. But like I think I need that little Newt character. You know what I mean? I need the heart and soul. I need the person who inspires you to go on. And I think some movies, as we've progressed as a culture as we make more horror movies. I think there's more, like, the shock value becomes like, let's not care about anyone, or like, if you care about that person, they're going to get murdered within the first 20 minutes. I think I'm very old-fashioned. Like, I still want that. I've been listening to the Dark Tower series, the Stephen King series, and I'm sorry, I just pounded that. And same thing. He just writes these, you know, where you're like, I care so deeply about these characters because here's this kid that I want to. Here's this talking dog weasel raccoon that he has, that the little kid has, and those bonds, I realize for me, are what kind of keep me going to withstand the horror. Otherwise, I'm like, great, this was depressing as hell, you know.
This is kind of off the cuff, but Rick and Morty, it's so nihilistic and yet smart, and it seems like that's coming more and more to see in writing, like with this show and with Rick and Morty and shows like that. They hide this subtext in there, and you get like a really great, you know, there's like a whole philosophy in there.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Dana made the comparison to Doctor Strangelove, and I think that's kind of, maybe that's one of the origin stories of that style of writing too, is that sort of like in this, like the darkest possible situation, you're sort of like, there's an existentialism to it, but you're laughing, right? And that makes all the difference. If it's all absent of all of that, and then it's just the darkness, it's like, why? Where do we go from here?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a great point.
One other thing, if it's cool if you guys got one more question, but do you find as an actress that like this sort of genre and sci-fi and you know, more the genre pictures and series give women more meaty, badass, like good roles these days, and that's where everybody's going, like with Charlize Theron and her work. I mean, that seems like, for you, is that what you're seeing happen?
I mean, I do think so. I think in general, and maybe this is true for you guys, I'd be curious to hear what you think. I a lot of the time now, when I see a trailer for a movie, or I hear that a movie's being made of something, especially if it's off of the book, my first thought is like, oh no, why isn't it a series? Why isn't it a series? Like, I want to see the Westworld, you know, of 1,000 things. I would list the Dark Tower among those. Like, I don't know that I want it to just be this movie. Even if it's 5 movies, it's like a million books. It's thousands of pages.
I wanted them to stream that.
Right?
So bad.
Right? It feels like, wait, no, of all the things, like, why would you? No. So I think that's what we've gotten spoiled by, right? Is that because we have the ability to stream stuff, because, you know, folks like Netflix are just dropping all of these episodes, the onus on the television, you know, the filmmaker, so to speak, is this better be real good from start to finish, because the expectation is like, this better be the best 12-hour movie I've ever seen. And so, and why wouldn't you want that as an actor too, to really get to perform that character so much and get time to develop backstories and stuff like that. And so, like I love Sense8, and I am so, that show takes its time so hardcore, to the degree where you're like, this is another music video montage where everyone's just like having sex with each other and like smiling, and there's rainbows of glitter everywhere. But I love that, because you know, they take time to do that. It also means they take time to just like have this quiet moment with, you know, that phenomenal Korean actress who hosts, who's just like brilliant. And then they'll have like just a silly, goofy, loving moment with the Spanish actor who plays the Mexican. He's the best. He's all the actors. But like, that is, you really feel like you get to live in their world for as much crazy shit is happening. And I just don't think that we had that before. And so you really get to love and know these characters. And as actors, I can't imagine that, you know, anybody who gets to do something like that on a regular basis isn't like, yeah, I just want to do this all the time now, instead of being, you know, in Serbia for 2 months, knocking out this one quick thing and then getting out, you know, at a castle, you know.
The depth to it. It gives you more story. I love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Is the Stan-Evie relationship going to change? Are you going to affect him? Is it going to affect you? How's that going?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like any great kind of antagonistic but loving partnership, there's no way for them not to continue to realize how important they are to each other. And I mean, I would hope, rather than like going the other way. And so there's some stuff that comes up. There's some like plot-driven stuff that comes up that Stan sees this opportunity to potentially change the course of his own personal history, which will deeply affect whether or not he even knows Evie. And you know, that there's nothing like "I'll never have met you" moments to go, oh, that's affecting. Like I care that I will never have known you. So there's some really rich stuff
Later, you have to
there.
affect each other, you know?
Exactly. And I think you start to see that in season 1. You know, those moments where they're both okay and they kind of, you know. And I love those kinds of relationships where you're like, I'm not hugging you. I'm not hugging you. Yeah.
So as you continue to delve into the characters, anything you find you're surprised to learn about yourself?
About myself, me?
Yeah, personally.
That's a great question. I mean, the thing that springs to mind that has been on my mind since it happened was honestly one of the last nights we were shooting. Johnny and I had a really emotional scene to do, and it was, you know, we had been working for the season, and it was like this sort of light, misty rain that everyone was afraid was going to turn into a torrential downpour because it just rained a lot on us, and we had to really. It was amazing to see our crew go, okay, what can we do right now? Let's get something. But in this case, we didn't know if it was going to turn into a real downpour, but instead it was just this like cool mist, and we were shooting this scene, and I really had this moment of I felt something when we finished, and I like, couldn't immediately identify it. This is going to sound so stupid, and then all of a sudden I was like, I love acting. Oh my God, I love acting. I haven't felt like this since I was a freshman in college. Like, what happened? Because for a long time I turned my back on that. I was like, no, it's not. It doesn't make sense. It is not important enough, and it's about physical things that I don't want to be judged for. And I was just really shitty and snobby about it when I lived in San Francisco, because like it's cool to be, you know, just like not into that stuff. You live in San Francisco, and I love comedy so much, and that's been, you know, what I've been doing predominantly. And only with this show and with Legend of Korra, which is very different because you're not acting like this with someone with cameras, have I really had those moments of like, oh, I really feel something deep here, and like this is, you know, this feels important somehow. I hope that people have that all the time with whatever they do. I hope they have that moment of connection of like, I'm really proud of my job right now. I would wish that for everyone, you know, no matter what their job is.
With movies like Cabin in the Woods and Tucker and Dale vs. Evil and your show Stand
Against Evil, it's okay. Listen, Dana called it Stan versus Evil for like 2 interviews last year. We're like, you know, that's not going to help with the Ash versus Evil Dead thing, which like it's totally. He wrote for. I mean, he's like he doesn't care, but it doesn't. I was like, this is not. You gotta say it right.
Do you think we're going to get more of a resurgence of this like Evil Dead style comedy, like getting that horror and comedy element? Do you think we're going to get more of a resurgence of that?
I mean, I'm always ready for more of that because, like I said, that's what I respond to. I need that relief, and I like things that are self-aware, which is why something like Cabin in the Woods, you know, I think is so fun for us, and I like homages to stuff. I don't mind. I don't need to see something that's like, this is so starkly original. I've never seen anything like it before in my life. I welcome that. That's great when you stumble across that, but I think it's also okay, especially in comedy, to, you know, bring the audience in and be like, hey, we're all super nerd fans, right? You'll get this. Like, we're inside this thing, right? I think that's a real phenomenon, and I think that will keep happening, you know, because I think that's people see like, oh, we're responding. Even like Guardians of the Galaxy or Deadpool, right? That feeling of being on the inside of something seems so much better received than just like, here's a presentation of a Batman. For me, anyway, I want that kind of like, you know what's going on here, you know.
So what is something you nerd out about personally?
I nerd out. I guess I've already nerded. What have I already nerded out about? Sense8 I nerded out about.
Yeah, you're very passionate about it.
Well, it's just adorable. I just think it's so great. It's so. It's like what if you're worried about the state of affairs in the universe and in the country, and then you see a show like that, you're like, oh, we're gonna be okay, everybody. Let's hug. Like it really feels like that to
I
me.
legit shed tears when I saw this.
Well, then now they're doing another one. No one's gonna, at least that, at least that. Yeah, I've been anti-binging, which is I've like not watched the last 4 of the second season because I'm like, I just want to save it. I just want to know it's there. I just want to know it's there. So I love that. Yeah.
And then we're gonna
Sure. And then, I have not made it a secret that my favorite movie is Tron, like the original Tron. I just love it so much. It's just one of those things that like sunk in at the exact right time for me as a kid, and I still love it. Like I could watch it today and be like, such an important movie, so ahead of its time. Yeah.